Life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be had. The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. Waking up to who you are requires letting go of who you imagine yourself to be. Stop measuring days by degree of productivity and start experiencing them by degree of presence. This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it is play. We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between a causative past and an absorbingly important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. We do not realize that there never was, is, nor will be any other experience than present experience. We are therefore out of touch with reality. The future is a concept. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There never will be, because time is always now. That's one of the things we discover when we stop talking to ourselves and stop thinking. We find there is only present, only an eternal now. All that you see out in front of you is how you feel inside your head. A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusion. Of course, you can't force your mind to be silent. That would be like trying to smooth ripples in water with a flat iron. Water becomes clear and calm only when left alone. We must abandon completely the notion of blaming the past for any kind of situation we're in and reverse our thinking and see that the past always flows back from the present. That now is the creative point of life. So you see, it's like the idea of forgiving somebody. You change the meaning of the past by doing that. Also, watch the flow of music. The melody as it's expressed is changed by notes that come later. Just as the meaning of a sentence. You wait till later to find out what the sentence means. The present is always changing the past. We seldom realize, for example, that our most private thoughts and emotions are not actually our own. For we think in terms of languages and images which we did not invent, but which were given to us by our society. The you who you think you are does not exist. For unless one is able to live fully in the present, the future is a hoax. There is no point whatever in making plans for a future which you will never be able to enjoy. When your plans mature, you will still be living for some other future beyond. You will never, never be able to sit back with full contentment and say, "Now, I've arrived." Your entire education has deprived you of this capacity because it was preparing you for the future, instead of showing you how to be alive now. As muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone, it could be argued that those who sit quietly and do nothing are making one of the best possible contributions to a world in turmoil. You yourself are the eternal energy which appears as this universe. You didn't come into this world, you came out of it, like a wave from the ocean. Don't hurry anything. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what progress you're making. Just be entirely content to be aware of what is. Enlightenment or awakening is not the creation of a new state of affairs, but the recognition of what already is. What keeps us from happiness is our inability to fully inhabit the present. Do you see yourself as a victim of the world, or do you see yourself as the world? Once you've learned to think, you can't stop. And an enormous number of people devote their lives to keeping their minds busy and feel extremely uncomfortable with silence. The biggest ego trip is getting rid of your ego, and of course the joke of it all is that your ego does not exist. Nothing is more creative than death, since it has the whole secret of life. It means that the past must be abandoned, that the unknown cannot be avoided, that I cannot continue, and that nothing can be ultimately fixed. When a man knows this, he lives for the first time in his life. By holding his breath, he loses it. By letting go, he finds it. You can make any human activity into meditation simply by being completely with it and doing it just to do it.